Tony D and little Joan in the background, and this is your screenwriter's rant on Dhurandhar. Dhurandhar, this is by request. If you haven't seen, I did a video comparing some American teasers with an Indian teaser, and I was complaining how lackluster the American teasers were as compared to the Indian one. And I got a lot of hits on that video. So a lot of people in the comments said, can you please react to Dhurandhar? And I will, but this isn't going to become the American guy reacting to the Indian movies channel. I'm just saying, once in a while I dip in, and because so many people asked, I will do this one. But let's not get too crazy. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, The Pineys, books 1 through 18, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. All right. Dhurandhar. So this is kind of a Indian gangster terrorist movie. Very bloody. Really good opening with this. This is a 4-minute trailer. It's a trailer. And it introduces all the major characters. Major Iqbal, who's in ISIS. And he's very evil. And so I guess this is a terrorist movie or gangster movie or kind of both. And then this is our hero. And we don't really get to know him too much. And then this guy is like the intelligence guy. So they introduce him. And then this guy is evil. I think he's also a gangster. It's kind of hard to tell. I had to read the subtitles. I don't know the cities. I don't know a lot of players in this game. Some of it involves Pakistani terrorism. And then this guy is also very evil. They're all competing for the most evil guy in this movie, these three characters. And, I mean, they're good villains. And then the good guy shows up to clean house, I guess. And he's got this weird kind of flail on a chain that's on fire that he's going to beat people with. He also has guns. There's, of course, crazy stunts. I'm not sure. Wrath of God. I'm not sure. Is that his name? Is that what they call him? Is that what Dhurandhar means? Wrath of God. So he's like the good guy. It's going to take down all these bad dudes. This was written, produced, and directed by Aditya December 5th, and I assume Indian theaters. I don't know when it would be here. Tons of action here. Tons of action, which I like. I like movies with action. I'm kind of lost in the context here. I feel like a 4-minute trailer is a little too long. Could have cut it down. I didn't need to really... The intelligence guy, I know more about him than the protagonist. There's also a girl in it, but they didn't bother to introduce her. If there's going to be a love story, and there's almost always a love story in these kinds of movies, because you guys are a bit old school, which I like. You always got to have a love story, give it a little bit of a hook, a little bit of a good stakes, that he has a love interest. I think maybe introduce her and introduce the main character. I felt like I didn't get to know the main character very well in this trailer. I know all the villains, but I don't feel like I need to know much about them other than who they're working for and that they're evil, right? So they're very evil and very bloody. One dude smashes another dude's head like a melon right in the trailer. We don't get that in America. It's not as bloody, the trailers, typically. You might get the red band trailers on YouTube. But, and this would be the equivalent of a red band trailer, I think. But yeah, and the other thing is I can't distinguish who's a terrorist and maybe a gangster. It's a lot of sort of bleed over there. In America, when you see a gangster film, typically the gangsters' crimes are often very regional, right? So you have, for instance, you might have a movie about gangsters in New York City, or gangsters in the Midwest, or gangsters in LA. So their crimes feel more regional, more local. And then you don't get the sort of international flavor with our gangsters in a gangster movie. But I feel like this is like worldwide almost. The gangsters are, or at least it's so epic it feels like, you know, because you're crossing over into Pakistan. And I understand that's more local to you. It feels a little more worldwide. Like at that point, the international community should be in on this. There should be scenes at the UN. Oh my God, what the hell's happening in India? So yeah, I'm kind of lost in the scope of this. So I think it probably needed a tighter trailer. I think I would have cut this down to about 2.5 minutes and just focused more on your protagonist and less on the villains. And normally I don't say it. Normally it's the opposite problem. Normally I get, you know, an American trailer be like all about the protagonist and I like don't even know who he's going up against. But in this, I feel like I know all the villains, but I don't know this guy very well or why he's, you know, his motivation. You know, typically it's like, oh, they're going to kidnap his woman at the end of this and he's going to have to save her, or the bad guys are going to target his family, or, you know, the families of people he works with. And I don't feel like he's in an organization. I feel like he's, I don't know, walking out of the woods to save India. I almost said America. India. You're saving India. But there's a lot here that looks cool. I mean, you guys always make movies and they look cool as hell. I'll say that. But it's almost drowning in cool, if that makes any sense. It's almost like everybody's a little too cool. Like this guy, way too cool. You know, this is the intelligence dude. This opening scene's really good. I like the opening scene of the trailer. It makes this guy very evil. And it puts it into context. I would have liked to see more of like him versus the protagonist. So I think, yeah, like here, we must infiltrate the very core of terrorism in Pakistan. Is that what happens in this movie? See, I couldn't figure that out. I watched through it a couple of times and like, I still quite, are they in Pakistan for this? I guess partly. There's a cool chase on a motorcycle. And there's a lot of machine guns. So I don't understand where the flail comes in. At one point, the guy has a flail. Let me see if I can find it. He's got this like, yeah, there it is. He's got this flail that's on fire, and then everything's on fire. Is he starting the fires with the flail? What the heck's going on? It's kind of confusing. And like, okay, it's kind of a cool scene, but like it should be, you know, in context, like, I don't know, they get into a gunfight at the museum and they run out of bullets and then they start picking up the medieval weapons in the museum, something like that. Like it feels like he brought the flail. Like, oh, I'm going to use the flail when I get a chance. Not sure why he would do that. So like, you know, I like my suspension of disbelief and the action, but there's kind of limits. Like in RRR, that was about the limit, right? Like the cool scene of the prison escape where one dude jumps on the shoulders of the other dude and they're both like fighting guys, one on top of the other. That's about the limit. Like, that's kind of unrealistic, but like maybe part of it could kind of happen if they were strong enough and coordinated enough. Maybe. It's like right at the edge of believability. Whereas I feel like bringing a flail, making a conscious decision of bringing a flaming flail to a fight feels like too much. Feels like a little too much. But there seems to be more gunplay than anything else. So, what the heck's in the background? A truck? Did a truck land on top of a rock or something? I don't know. So, would I see it? Yeah, I'd probably see it. But I might get so numb to the action, if I don't understand the context, I'd kind of tune out after a while and just let it play while I did something else and just sort of dipped in for the action. That's the disadvantage, I think, for foreign movies. If they're a little too foreign, like, I don't know all the conflicts in India and Pakistan, you know, so they reference one from 1971. I'm sure it's big for you guys, but I don't even know that one. And so, you know, watching a movie, I don't have to do a bunch of research. You know, he's talking about it, and it's also subtitled, which it's tough. There's a lot of dialogue here, so I'm looking down at the dialogue and then looking back up at what's happening. It makes it tougher. It makes it tougher. I know the acting, you don't miss any of the acting when it's subtitled, but you kind of do because you're reading the subtitles in order to keep up. So I feel like in some respects, you know, dubbing might be better. But, and actually, maybe they ought to put the subtitles on the top of the screen. I'm wondering if that would be better. If the subtitles went up top, because then I would be looking, because typically when you put it up on a screen in your living room, you're going to be looking up at the TV. And so my peripheral vision will tend to see more, I think, if I'm looking up as opposed to down. I think I'm going to see more of the screen while I'm reading if I'm looking at the subtitles at the top of the screen. I don't know. But yeah, I would probably check it out. I don't know when it's going to be here. You know, in America, we get these whenever. Sometimes they go into movie theaters. It has to be a pretty big hit, I think, and usually only in select theaters. You know, we have a pretty decent-sized Indian population. It's only going to be in the theaters here where that population they feel is big enough that enough people will come out and see it. I don't think it's going to have a lot of crossover appeal, other than maybe the action fans, because it is sort of steeped in your history, and you know, there's only so much of that. I mean, Americans don't know their own history. You think they know Indian history? You're asking a lot. You're asking a whole lot. But yeah, it looks cool. It looks cool. So it's Dhurandhar, dropping in cinemas December 5th. And that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan, by request, here on the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, I'll be at the Little Mill Country Club in Marlton, New Jersey, for my 7 p.m. talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. That's for members only and their families and friends who get to come to the country club. But don't worry, Saturday, I'm doing an event at Pladigio's Winery in Hamilton, New Jersey at 2 p.m. And this is open, but, you know, seating is limited. Seating is limited. So if you want to come to Pladigio's, call ahead, reserve a spot for you and your friends, drink some wine, and hang out and hear about the Jersey Devil. Hope to see you there. We'll see you in the next one.